Hello and welcome to the 49th Everybody Dice podcast, where we talk about board gaming, tabletop gaming, all that kind of stuff. I am Steve, and today I am joined by...
It's still Darryl.
It's your favourite, not Steve, Iain. Where your only other choice is Darryl, you're forced into a decision.
Lovely stuff.
Jesus.
Hello everyone, we're back as a trio again.
I don't know.
Fur.
The free. I don't know. I'm trying to think what we. It's not. I don't really know.
They're not
There's
really
got to be
musketeers.
No.
I don't particularly feel like I have a frame of reference that allows me to think like a Frenchman.
Yeah. Yeah, is the Frenchman part the issue there, or is it more the dashing swordsman?
I'm dashing.
Yeah.
As in Pebble dashing the back of my toilet. I'm so sorry. Like, I saw it and my mind was like, you can't not say that now.
Okay, so are we just giving... We're three somethings. I don't know what.
We're the three heads of Cerberus.
Okay.
We are all...
That just makes it sound like that we're part of some sort of cult. We are the three heads of Cerberus.
And you know we're not allowed to talk about the cult. We're not allowed to talk about cults. Not a specific cult that we might be a part of, just in general. It's a podcast rule. Nothing
Cult
to do
cabana.
with any cult we might be part of.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Everybody Dice does not endorse cults of any sort.
Unless you're interested in joining the Free Heads of Cerberus, in which case go to www.freeheadsofcerberus.com/join.
Warning: we will need a one-off subscription fee.
And a tooth. One of your teeth. We don't mind which.
No, it has to be the canine.
Okay.
I like the idea that the front of the website is just kind of like this coded thing of just like images of our heads or something. When you click on one, the mouth opens and just emits a sound. And they've just got to punch them in the right way to actually gain access into the
That'd
website.
be great. That'd be a great little
it's
thing.
like Scientology, except you walk dogs more.
Yeah, 100%.
In fact, walking dogs is all you do. That's all you have to do to please.
If you walk 5 doggos, you get access to the next tier.
Oh my god, it's just a tier system all the time with the more doggles you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leader has like infinite dogs. that is the religious system. Is based around dogs and how infinite dogs are.
Wow. I mean, I'm on board.
The infinite Ouroboros style dog, where the dog eats the back, smells the bum of another dog, which smells the bum of that dog, like a big dog bum smelling circle.
Welcome to the Everybody Dice board gaming podcast, where I promise you we do talk about board games. I'm going to start things off just by talking a little bit about what's been going on the site recently. One video that we've released since the last podcast, which was a Baron Park unboxing, a game that actually we haven't had a chance to play yet because of the state of the world right now. However, we have been playing some things. Say, what have we been playing? Right. I'm going to kick things off talking about Vast. So, Vast is actually a Leader Games game. So, like, the same people that do Root. It's kind of... it's got artwork by Carl Ferrin as well, who seems to do all of Leader Games art. A lot of people are a big fan of his work.
How suspicious.
It's got a lot of similarities to Root, except, again, it's another asymmetrical game where everyone plays different parts. But it's less warfare style game. Like in Root, I mean, you'll know, Darryl, it's kind of like it's more getting troops onto a map and moving them across the map and, taking over territory, much like, except for the Vagabond, of course, who acts a bit more independently. Vast kind of feels more like you have a load of different Vagabonds. So everyone has a different objective. There's no victory points or anything like that. Every single faction has an objective. And for example, the Paladin has to kill the spider before it escapes.
Okay.
The spider has to raise the terror level to a certain number and then escape the mysterious manor. I actually probably should mention that I'm playing the mysterious manor, not the Crystal Caverns, I think it was called. The skeletons have to kill the Paladin, and there is a mage that has to dominate 5 different playing pieces to win the game. It's interesting because what it means is that everyone has a very specific target, and although they can mess with the other targets, because you obviously don't want them to win the game as well. For example, if it seems like the skeletons are about to kill the Paladin, it might be that the spider, who knows that the Paladin is trying to kill it to achieve its victory, may actually want to mess with the skeletons because otherwise they don't win the game. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics you can see happen in a game of Vast, but I was playing the solo mode, which is a little bit different, which is you have to play as the Paladin, and you have to go in and you have to kill a certain number of poltergeists before the terror level reaches a certain level. It's not necessarily going to be the best representation of the game, I find, because literally what you're doing is you're moving into the manor. There are tiles on the manor which get flipped as you start revealing them. So the Paladin has an action... Oh god, what was the name of the action? I've completely forgotten, but they basically have this thing where they get to do several different things, such as move into another square, reveal it, then attack something within the square. They kind of do a combination of things. And the idea is you then start revealing other tiles on the map, which may possibly raise the terror level. It may have a poltergeist in it, which is one of the things you have to kill. It could be a shrine, which allows you to kind of like bolster up your character a little bit. It's interesting because the way the Paladin plays, and it is the only character that I've had a chance to play, the Paladin has to prepare, because the Paladin always starts every turn with 0 attack and 0 defense. And you've got a number of action cubes. So you can't go... I think it might be called Conquest or something like that, is where you get to do multiple actions in one turn. But if you have no strength and no defense, it means you're going to get your ass kicked, basically. So you have to prepare for your battle. So for every cube you put on there, it increases your attack and your defense by 1. So if you put 2 cubes into prepare, it would give you 2 attack and 2 defense. And it works on a really basic system of if your attack is higher than your enemy's defense, you win that duel. There are a number of skeleton AIs within the map as well that are working against you in the solo mode. And I didn't win. I came close. I only had to kill 1 more poltergeist on my poltergeist count. But if you go into a room that has blood in it, it raises the terror level. And I hit 3 rooms. I revealed 3 rooms in a row that all had blood on them. And it raised the terror level to the point that the terror level was high enough that I lose. You can reduce it by... you can actually reduce it by simply cleaning up the blood on a square. Essentially, whenever you move into a square that has enemy pieces in, you can choose to remove 1 piece out of it. Not an enemy character, but any enemy token that's on it you can remove. And if you remove a blood, it actually lowers the terror by 1. But seeing as the terror rises by 1 in every single turn, I didn't really want to clean up all the blood. And I figured, what are the chances of me revealing 3 rooms with blood in on a single turn? And it turns out the odds were very good. And it happened, and I lost.
Were the odds good, or were you unlucky?
Um, I feel like you've got more chance of finding a room with blood in it than finding a room with a poltergeist in. That is just how it is. There's more rooms with that because you've got enough. You can count the tiles, and you know there's more tiles with blood on them than there are with phantoms on. But to draw 3 tiles in a turn that all had blood on was a little bit unlucky. But at the same time, it was my own fault for not deciding, maybe I better clean up one of the blood on that, because as soon as I hit a certain number of blood, I know that the next room that I reveal that has blood on it is going to lose me the game. So I did have that, but it was kind of just playing the odds, because it is a race against time, because the terror level always gets raised by 1 at the end of your turn regardless. So once you hit so much blood, you kind of feel like you just kind of have to go for it, I suppose, and in this case it didn't pay off. But yeah, that was my experience with Vast. It is like I say, it's still an enjoyable solo experience. It's nothing mind-blowing, really, but I can see it being a hell of a lot more fun with more people, and seeing those opposing dynamics work with and against one another. So yeah, that's Vast. Next up, I believe, Ian, you've got your Star Wars RPG to talk about?
Yeah, so we did practice run of Star Wars because obviously we're planning to record it at some point.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 players currently, and we just wanted to run through the rules so the DM's comfortable with them, so we're comfortable with them, so we know what's going on, get into the shoes of our character a bit. So we did like a quick run. It's a good session actually. It's only like a little one, but we were captives on like a anti-grav train, similar to sort of the one in Solo where it like flips around, except we're inside, and so everyone with mag boots was sticking to the walls, and we were like flipping around the inside of the cargo hold. Made combat very interesting. We've got a Twi'lek smuggler, a human pilot, and a human bounty hunter. Okay. The session started off with me cracking the helmet of a stormtrooper by headbutting him, and it only escalated from there.
Right.
We let some prisoners escape to assist us, and they immediately started killing other prisoners, and like it got super out of hand. The long and short of it is we got to the front of the train, we took over the train, and now we're all dressed as Imperials waiting for the train to reach its stop, and that's where we stopped. But it was good. We've got the help of an NPC assassin who wants to kill the big bad Imperial. We would probably be up for killing the big bad Imperial as well, as we're currently slaves. So yeah, it's all gone ship shape. I really enjoyed rolling. The dice system is completely different to something like D&D. So you get levels of success, levels of, I guess, advantage, and the advantage is also determined by something called what's it called? Triumph and disaster. So success is like if you get like 3 success and 2 failure, you succeed by 1 degree. So you have the number of dice have a number of success on. It's not like you get a 20 and you've got to beat 18. Is you roll the difficulty dice, which might roll a certain amount of like bad stuff, and you just have to roll more good stuff than that bad stuff.
Okay, so is this to say that the DM then gets some measure of control over not just... So it's not kind of like in a lot of RPGs where you either succeed or fail. It's a case of the DM really has a dice to go by to say how well you succeeded or how badly you failed.
And I think what's super interesting about the RPG is you're sort of encouraged to make it story-y and like have like in quotes Star Wars moments. So a triumph is what is like a Star Wars moment. That is I'm trying to think of a really good example, but all of them have left my brain.
When you fire the missile and it lands in the little
Yeah,
port on the
the
Death Star
Star
kind of
Wars
thing?
moment is shooting through a 2 meter hole to blow up a gigantic space station. That's a triumph, you know. Like you're not going to roll them often. One happened in this session, and it like I think basically I went to shoot a guy in the back because I convinced them I was a stormtrooper and they ran past me, and I ended up just blasting away free. So it's sort of that's the Star Wars moment. It went through one and hit the door and it fell on them or something like that. It's cool. So there's levels of success, but then there's also the sort of advantage and disadvantage, which is called strain. So you can roll badly but still pass. So for example, you could roll to open a door, go up to the door, roll. Yep, you succeed, but you take 3 strain, and that strain could be in the form of I don't know, maybe like R2 when he opens the door in Cloud City. You go to open the door, you succeed, and the door opens, but you get electrocuted because the port in the wall has like a power socket. Or you, for example, you're shooting at someone and you get a triumph. You could fail to do them any damage, but the blaster bolt ricochets off the wall and disarms them.
Okay.
It's like something like that. So another one would be a security system. You hack into it and you fail to get into the security system. However, you got loads of advantage, and the advantage can be converted into like the Star Wars moment, which is everyone gets locked out of the security system because you failed too many times, and all the security officers are locked out the security panel and they can't view the CCTV anymore. It means you can fail and positive things can happen, and you can pass and negative things can happen, which makes it more fluid than D&D, where it's like, yes, you pass, or no, you fail. It is, yes, you pass, but, or no, you fail, but, and it's very good for the sort of story-driven game. Gives you a bit more to play with in the story.
Okay. So just remind me again, which Star Wars RPG is it?
We're playing Edge of the Empire.
Edge of the Empire. Okay.
So it's sort of, we've got a character who's made their character in Age of Rebellion, but they're all interchangeable. But it's going to be a scum and villainy style campaign as opposed to "Grr, the Empire are bad" campaign.
Okay. All right then. Moving on then. I'll keep things RPG-ish though. I actually played a solo RPG recently. So there's a website called itch.io. It's kind of like one of the self-publication kind of websites. There's lots of video games on there, like indie video games and stuff like that, but there's also a large degree of indie RPGs, and there's also a lot of solo RPGs on there. Shut Up and Sit Down did a video on, or at least they mentioned itch.io on there fairly recently, and a couple of the RPGs kind of caught my attention a bit. One was Artifact, which I haven't played yet, but looks really cool. You are an artifact. You cannot move by yourself. You have to have a keeper that moves you around and stuff happens to you over time, and it involves a lot of drawing and stuff like that in your own personal journal. But what I've been playing is the Wretched, which is basically a follow-on plot from Alien. So the idea is that you've been on this ship called the Wretched, and something's gotten on board, it's killed all the crew, and you've flushed it out the airlock. You're the only survivor left, and you're on this ship all by yourself. The thing is, the alien is still alive, and it's on the outside of the ship trying to hack its way back in. And this RPG basically generates a number of events that you go through. So in order to play this, you need a Jenga tower, you need a set of cards, you need 10 generic tokens that you can find. It actually suggests you do it with like screws and nuts and bolts and stuff like that. And you need a deck of cards without the jokers in. The idea is that every single day you roll the dice. That's how many cards you have to draw off the deck. Every card has then got a link to a table. So you look up and it generates an event that happens. Usually it will involve having to make a pull on the tower, and the tower represents your ship. So at any point your ship can just totally fail and fall apart, basically. That's what happens if the tower falls down. Also, there are going to be events which involve the alien. Get too many of those, and again, the alien kills you. It's designed in such a way that you're not really meant to succeed at it. You're just kind of trying to make a story.
How long can you survive, I guess?
Yeah, and it's a story of what you did leading up to when things went so badly. Because the idea... Okay, to give you an idea of how to succeed at this, first of all, you have to be lucky enough to draw the Ace of Hearts card. That signals that you've just managed to repair your signalling beacon. You then put 10 tokens on it. And then at the end of each day, you roll a dice. If you roll a 6, you get to take 1 token off of that card. So you have to successfully roll 10 sixes. So they really stack the odds against you. Really, really stack the odds against you. When I played this, I'd had a particularly difficult day at work and was not in a very good mood. I would not recommend playing this when you're not in a good mood, because this is really quite depressing. Because the coolest thing at the same time about this is when you've done your day's events and you've drawn the cards and you've resolved them all, you then have to record an audio log, or you can record a video log if you want. It kind of says you can do whatever you want, and you basically have to start it with the whole first engineer Stephen Furrash of the Wretched, and you go along that lines, and then you recount everything that happened in your day. You're allowed to add in extra stuff, but you have to cover the things that have happened. It got to day 4, and because I was in a bad mood playing this, and it actually generated this event where, first of all, the event was that I'd grown tired of all the bodies of my comrades just lying around, so I decided to put them in the airlock, and at the last minute I decided not to flush them out. And then the game directs you, say why you decided not to flush them out. So straight away, that's quite a deep and heavy subject there, regardless of whether they're fictional characters you're talking about or not. Then the other event that I drew for that day was you find a journal, and in that journal of one of the people that died on the ship, it talks about them remembering a place that they want to go to when they get back to Earth. And that was so heavy, so heavy, that the next event, basically, that I had to do, I just deliberately, I swiped a block off the tower, and somehow it stayed up. Second time, I just did it, and it just crumbled. I like to think that my story ended with me just having enough of it all and just pressing the self-destruct button on the ship. That's the way I like to remember it.
Climbing into the airlock with the corpses and pressing the button.
Yeah, or something like that. But it's really good. Really, really good. I would recommend, if ever you go to itch.io, looking up The Wretched and giving it a go for yourself, because you've just got to be in the right frame of mind to play it, because it's very much a game about isolation and loneliness and picking up on really deep emotional ties to people that you've lost, and that, if you're in the wrong frame of mind, can not go down too well. But it's a really cool concept. That you have to record the audio log at the end of the day, so it says you need a microphone, and then just get up Audacity or something like that and just record it. So I have those audio logs on my computer. I don't know whether I'll ever let them be heard. It is harrowing, and it's really, really interesting. It's a really interesting concept. It's a good way of being able to play an RPG on your own, because a standard have stats and roll dice to resolve situations just doesn't really work in, or I imagine it won't work very well if you're playing something solo.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what you enjoy in RPGs and stuff is the interactions with other people and interacting to situations with other people. So to do a solo RPG, you have to do something different, and this was a really good way of doing it. So despite the fact that I deliberately pulled the plug on my play, I would still really recommend this. I would also really recommend checking out Artifact, although I haven't played it yet, because just reading through that, it looks amazing. In fact, I would say go on to itch.io and look at some of the solo RPGs that are out there, because some of them are amazing, just in concept alone. Darryl, you have been playing Exit?
Yes,
I believe.
So I'm probably quite late to this game. Sort of did a little bit looking a minute ago, and there's quite a lot of them. I just happened to walk into a shop and saw it, and obviously with the state of things at the moment, you can't really go and do escape rooms. I do quite enjoy those kind of things, so ended up grabbing this. So I would say it took us about 2 hours to do it in total. But
So
go on.
can I just say which one was it that
Oh,
you
sorry.
had?
So I had the cabin, like the last cabin one.
I have it in front of me right now.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why it took so long is because although it says on the box quite clearly that a lot of the times you're going to be cutting stuff up, stripping it out of the book, just generally folding things and destroying things, there was still that level of, I've paid money for this, I don't really want to do this, I could probably give this to someone else.
Me, on the other hand,
Stripped it, yeah?
yep, this has all been cut.
So,
It will never be used again.
having said that, I feel like we did lose. There was definitely a certain one. Have you played that one, yeah?
Yeah,
so
we've done it. I can tell you right now that we did it in 66 minutes.
Wow, man.
Using a total of 1 help card, earning 7 stars in the assessment.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I think we used a hell of a lot of help cards. So one of the ones we struggled on a hell of a lot was, unfortunately, the domino one.
Is this because you
Didn't cut it
want
out.
to cut them
Yeah,
out and
so
do all that? Yeah.
In the end, we ended up getting a supplement piece of paper and making it into the same domino pattern and then doing it that way, and within seconds got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, because there was this initial, this complete thing of not wanting to tear it up, it did actually put quite a lot of strain on it. However, I would say that I wasn't expecting a lot because I paid about £10 for it. But to be honest with you, that was £10 exceptionally well spent.
Do you know something?
So
for
much
£10,
to it.
For £10, I kind of feel like it wouldn't be such a bad thing to do all the cutting up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just, I was like, I didn't know if you'd had a go, or if Ian had a go, or someone else had a go, whether it's worth just sort of passing. I was planning on passing it on a bit like you were going to do with, was it the Consulting Detective?
Yeah.
Like, it's a one-time thing, but other people can use it at some point. So, yeah, that was my plan anyway. But I really, really enjoyed it. So much so that when I went back into the shop, they happened to have, a different shop, they happened to have a couple more. So I bought a couple more. And I plan on doing them. Again, I'm probably not going to rip them up.
I will say, we got the Pharaoh's Tomb as well.
Oh, that looked cool.
That
I
we
didn't see that
tried.
one.
Didn't enjoy it very much.
Oh, really?
Abandoned Cabin. But bear in mind, with Abandoned Cabin, we had 4 of us playing, which I think is really probably going to be the recommended number of people to play it.
Yeah.
With Pharaoh's Tomb, we had a group of about 8 of us.
Oh, wow.
And that might be why it wasn't as enjoyable.
Yeah.
We had, I think if I remember right, we had people getting impatient and they would be doing one puzzle while someone else would be doing another puzzle somewhere else on the table, meaning that people weren't really getting the full idea of how anything was working, really, like how any of the puzzles were working.
Yeah, so one of the things I found was quite frustrating. Obviously, there's a certain set of puzzles, or a couple of puzzles, that won't initially be able to be solved because you're missing components until you've solved another puzzle. Which I actually really enjoyed, that you're sort of banking these certain shapes or objects or whatever, and you're like, well, what does this even mean? There was a certain puzzle with like a layout type thing. I don't want to give it away too much, but we were missing a component, a very key component, and we were so trying to find out the clues to this like kind of 3-part puzzle, and we just couldn't do it. And all it was is because we didn't have this last part, which gave away one of the most significant clues. And it was just like, oh my god, to the point where The whole box gets used. Like, I felt that was so cool. The way they'd kind of implemented certain aspects you wouldn't normally think about. So, like I say, for £10, a self-contained thing was really, really good. So I've been looking at other kind of things, but apparently it all seems to kind of point towards that one being quite a well-respected and well-thought-out kind of affair, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Me and Laura played one that was extremely similar, and I think I probably don't know if I could look it up and even remember what it was called. It was based in like a chemistry lab.
Oh, that is probably one of them. Actually, I think I was looking through. They had a lab one.
Yeah, so it's like a weird little lab, and you have to use like periodic table to solve like certain of like, and it's like you're going through some mad guy's notes to try and escape.
The one. Yeah, that's basically. I think it's just a series of these different games.
That one's quite good. Laura really enjoyed it. I think I was tired and I wasn't in the mood, but it seemed decent. Just I wasn't in the mood for it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot to it. Go on.
I will say I've just looked at the Pharaoh's Tomb layout at the end, and we didn't even bother filling it in.
Oh wow!
So I've got no idea how well we actually did.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, So I didn't realise there's levels of difficulty as well. So some of them are 4s out of 5s, 3s out of 5s, easier than others. It's kind of interesting, but I would definitely 100% recommend it for people that want to do those kind of things, but can't necessarily because of restrictions at the moment.
It's totally worth it for £10.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Really worth it for basically a nice night in. That's basically what you're paying for.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, about 2 hours we could have spent watching crap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a bit more, and also it gets you talking. That not saying that we don't talk, but like it gets you really, really focusing on like simple little things. Like I would be looking at something, and then I was playing with Helen, and Helen would just suddenly go, "Oh God, I've got it!" And you'd just be like, "Oh yeah, I can see now." And then it'd be like a symbol that meant this, and you're like, "Oh!" And then suddenly you're cracking, and you start getting on a ball, and you're rolling, and you're like, "Okay, we're on the next one. It's good fun.
I think that happens a lot in Consulting Detective. I hear that's really the ones where you're like on a case for days kind of thing, and you're like texting one another, "Oh my God, should we try this?" and stuff like that.
See, I like that.
Anyway,
that's cool.
Yeah, shall we move on? Ian, I believe we've got a lot of catching up to do with D&D.
Yes, like 4 sessions. So I think I'm going to run through some of the weird highlights of what happened. And if you want to ask questions about specific highlights, you do that.
Sure.
Right. So I'm pretty sure we left off, we're in like a dark underground thing underneath like a massage house.
Right.
And we built a huge pile of corpses. And then we unleashed a bear in these catacombs. So our ranger has dual spec'd into druid, and now she just unleashes bears and hyenas all over the place.
This kind of sounds like every game of Far Cry I've ever played, which is just, if it's an enemy camp, just release a tiger or something like that into it.
Exactly.
And just watch it run through
them. So we got through this catacombs, and they're like, we fought the bad guy, and it ended up being like a really creepy statue, which clearly had loads of like story implications. We just took the loot and left. And the DM was like, "So none of you are going to interact with the statue?" And we're like, "No." And he was really annoyed. We burnt down a tavern by accident, and I uncharacteristically saved some people.
Jesus.
I'm guessing that wasn't your demon half that was in control then at that point.
No, I think I'd killed a lot of people that day and decided to be slightly more human side. What else had we done? They had like a parkour roof chase where they had to jump across rooftops and stuff, like Assassin's Creed style, and they're being chased by demons. Meanwhile, I turned invisible and walked it. What else happened? I teleport. So I used a spell called Misty Step to teleport behind a cult leader, and whilst he was in mid monologue, tore him in half. we went out into the woods because our druid's pet died, and she got turned into a werewolf. So she is now a ranger, druid, werewolf, lizard person.
Okay.
We spent an entire session it was only us two free, so it was like my character buddy cop comedy style, talking her through being an absolute monster.
Perfect.
So like my character who tears people in half on a daily basis, just walking her through the basics of who you should and shouldn't tear apart, and helping her come to terms with the fact that she's an awesome dinosaur werewolf now. We went to the upper city, tried to convince a janitor to let us into a manor house, and failed. So we knocked him out, locked him in a cupboard, and used disguise self to walk into the manor house dressed as him anyway.
Oh god.
And that's pretty much it in terms of like dumb stuff. The werewolf tore a young monastery girl in half and hung her from the rigging of our ship, and some paladins
Holy crap.
came to the ship trying to get like revenge, and like we killed half of them and sent the other ones running, and then before they left we're like, what are you even the paladins of? And they were like, poetry and song, and we all just laughed at them as they went back to their chapel. So yeah, I think there's just lots of times where it escalated where it probably didn't need to escalate.
There's a lot of bloodshed in your campaign, isn't there?
The problem is, my character is consumed by a demon who feasts on the souls of others. We now have a werewolf. We have the equivalent of half-elf Trump. And then a person who is just a cat person. And like...
You make that sound like they're the most balanced out of all of you?
Yeah, the cat person
person.
just kind of... She's like Bard Monk. And just watches it happen. Like my character turns into a demon and rips someone in half, and then the dinosaur turns into a dinosaur werewolf and rips someone in half, and then the half elf has dragon ancestry, so grows wings, and like, or he will do at one point. I think he's just got the spell, or like he just casts fireball into a room and everyone's immolated and deaf, and she's just like, how did I get here? Actually, speaking of which, the cat lady is called Lizzie, and she's an excellent artist, like super good artist, and she drew my character. So
cool.
I will send a picture of what my character looks like, and you
can go on screen now.
Yes, if I'm slightly more organised.
Yeah,
I could have had this ready. She's drawn like a couple with different backgrounds, so I'll post both for you.
Yeah, I'll pop them on screen. Cool.
I don't know if this is even going to work. It didn't really post as a picture, did it? It posted as a file.
BMP.
I think I could just download it. I think, but
yeah,
that works.
Yeah, that'll do. I don't know where it's saved to on my hard drive, but I'll find it somewhere. That's cool. That's fine. If there's no picture, I couldn't find it. So...
Commitment.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Copy image. Paste. There we go. Look, if I'm not an idiot, I could have done it like that the first time. Oh, it's taken a while to load.
Ah, cool. There we go.
Copy image.
Cool.
She had like two with two different backgrounds. I've just posted the same one again. Maybe I am an idiot.
Yeah, it's the same one. You
get the idea.
I get the idea. It will be posted. Anyway, I'm really briefly just going to talk about... I think that's the same one. Oh, no, it's a bit darker, that background.
There's one with like a purple background, one with like a dark background.
Yeah. I'll really quickly just talk a little bit about Chronicles of Crime 1400, because I did play some of that, and I think I'm done with Chronicles of Crime, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah,
like, negatively or like positive, I'd come to my... You've bust.
So... I think it's happened one too many times now where I've known exactly what I have to find. I know I need it as a piece of evidence in order to complete the mission, and yet I can't find it anywhere. As in, I know where it is, but I can't get there. And it's happened way too many times now. And it just keeps happening over and over and over, and it's usually like a really like. Eventually, I usually just end up going, "Oh, I can't be bothered with that. I know what's happened. I'm just going to go to solve case." It's happened way too many times now, if I'm perfectly honest. And yeah, I just think I'm done. The dog in 1400 was yeah. It
Is
sniffs
it a
things
bad
and then
doggo?
finds.
Does it not go on
No.
the list of good doggos?
It's a very good doggo, but literally its function in the game is to sniff evidence that you found and then find the person it's connected to. That really seems to be its only function in the game. I couldn't find any other way to use it in the game. Like whenever you try to use it on a person, for example, like kill. No, it just won't have it. So yeah, it's kind of like it really felt like more of a novelty than anything else, and that's you do have visions as well in the game, which, if anything, point you more towards the fact that you have to find this, and you can see where it is that you have to find this thing, and then not being allowed to go there, and
Right.
it's just very, very frustrating. Yeah, so in other words, you'll have a vision of two people talking in a bar or something like that, so you know, oh, okay, I know to go to a bar and say, have you seen these people? And then everyone just goes, nah. It's kind of, oh, for God's sake, I
suppose there's
obviously have to talk to one particular person.
Yeah, there's probably a trigger somewhere where you talk to someone and then those people end up at that bar. Or something like that. But I suppose if you haven't done that, then the vision's kind of useless.
Yeah, it really is. If anything, the vision is just there to taunt you more than anything else of, oh, you know what's happened, but you can't find out how to actually use it as evidence? Yeah, I'll just leave this just here. It's just, oh, God, it's so frustrating. And, yeah, I think I may have turned that corner now in Chronicles of Crime.
That's a damn shame.
I'll give it another go, because there are 4 cases in it, and I've only played 1 so far. But we shall see how it goes. The tutorial, I don't know if there's something that where my phone is just not compatible with it as well. I need to try it with perhaps my iPad or something like that. So I'm certainly not done with the game yet, but the rooms that you investigate, when I use it on my phone, for some reason, in the old Chronicles of Crime game, I can look around a room just fine. In the 1400 ones, I'm just given a static image that I can zoom in and out of, despite the fact that it says that I should be able to swipe on the screen to look around a room, or I can just move it around. Neither of them work. I've tried swiping, it just does nothing. So I don't know if there's an incompatibility between my phone and it. I need to try it on other devices really to really find out, because again, I feel like that may have hampered my enjoyment of it. But because I had a lot of instances where I couldn't see things on the screen, so I just thought, I'm just going to scan a load of cards. And eventually I'd find something that I clearly couldn't see on the screen. So,
I think me and Laura did that for one of ours. I think it was like a gun in a river or something on one of them. And it's like, we couldn't see it or see how to get to it, but like we knew it was there from... Yeah. We kind of guessed it was there.
I know the exact mission you're talking about as well, the exact scene as well. Yeah. I think we had the exact same thing, but we didn't think to scan through every card. I feel like that's a level that I've gotten to now, where if I'm not seeing stuff around, I just think I'm going to investigate this and then scan a bunch of cards. Yeah, I think all it does is it just forwards time every time that you scan an item. So perhaps people could move about, or an event could happen that isn't supposed to happen just yet. But it seems of little consequence when you know there's an item somewhere and you have to find it. And if you're going to be moving around locations and stuff, you're just going to be wasting the time anyway, which is kind of a damning comment to make about it, I suppose.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because we had such high hopes for this, because of this like triple narrative that was running through the 3 packs that are eventually coming out. I don't know. It's a bit of a shame.
I'm still interested to see what the others have to offer.
100%.
And I think we may possibly be reviewing this game in the future. It depends on how things go with the Patreon poll. But we'll see. Anyway, I think we've got a special little thing in store now.
Oh.
A certain choose your own adventure.
Okay,
That
guys.
Darryl shall be running.
So bear with, because there's quite a bit of writing, so this might have to be a two-parter.
Yeah, perhaps if we spread this over podcasts.
Yeah, the only thing I will say...
We're 45 minutes into this?
Yeah, so... well, it might not. It depends on your initial choosings.
How quickly I die.
Yeah, so this is called Choose Your Own Apocalypse. Okay?
Do you wonder whether it might be an idea if me and Ian discuss and we follow one?
Yes, okay, that would be probably a little bit better. Then that way,
Yeah.
what I'll do is I will put you as...
I feel like it'll get us interacting a little bit more.
Yes,
as well,
okay. So in this instance, you're going to be both sides of the subject's brain. How's that sound? Where
Sure.
one of
Yeah,
you
I'm
is one of you.
Can we be the devil and angel on their shoulder?
Yes, perfectly fine. What would you like this character to be called?
what do you think?
Colonel Archibald Burmott Millard III.
I have no complaints about that.
Wow. Okay, Colonel Archibald Millard III. Yes.
Colonel Archibald Burmott Millard III,
Okay.
Esquire.
Can he have a short abbreviation name, because it's going to be a lot easier for me to constantly
The
tell
Colonel.
that. The Colonel. Okay. The Colonel it is. Right. So, basically, this is a choose your own adventure book set in the apocalypse of what could potentially happen with certain political characters from various nations. So you have on the front cover, I'll send a photo of it in a bit, of Donald Trump in a hazmat suit, Vladimir Putin, can't even say the word, just looking like a cheeky chappy, and in a UFO, pterodactyls, a rocket, all flying around Kim Jong-un's face.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I will send you the photos. Okay, so bear with me, guys.
Please.
It's been 6 months since you answered an ad and began your job as a junior officer at the UN Department for Continuity. Global, this
We're
is.
a colonel already.
Well, you are colonel in your own name, but I would say that you're not actually... Yeah, do you know what? It's been 6 months and you've proven to be very good at continuity.
Okay.
So...
Or do we just make exceptionally good chicken?
You're just that good at making chicken. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Based in a former toiletry supply room on the 3rd floor of the UN headquarters, your team's job is to prevent the untimely cessation of global activities in any given year, or in layman's terms, to stop the world ending. Basically, you are the ones world leaders call when the proverbial shitstorm is about to hit the proverbial wind farm. But none of that matters right now, because it's 5 PM on Christmas Eve and you're heading home for the holidays. Your computer is shutting down, and you're just putting your coat on when your boss saunters over with a greasy grin on his face. We've just had a code red from Pink Camellia. You recognise the code name for North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Something about a missing rocket, I think he said. Would you be a star and pop over to Pyongyang to make sure everything's okay? I'd go myself.
Do you mean Pyongyang?
I can't really pronounce that, so we'll go Pyongyang. To make sure everything's okay, I'd go myself, but I'm on Christmas dinner duties tomorrow. I'm doing a bird within a bird within a bird. Have you ever tried it? Typical. Quiet.
Yes.
All month. When this. What do you want to do? Okay, so these are your options. Left side and right side of the brain. Devil and angel. Tell him where he can stuff his free bird roast. You're not cancelling your Christmas plans for anything. Or spring into action. A nuclear conflagration would spoil the holiday season for everyone.
So, as a man who works over most of Christmas, I would rather die in a nuclear fire.
Okay. I mean, I knew you were going to say this. This is why I'm glad now both of you are doing it at the same time, because one of you would just be sitting out for quite a while.
Yeah,
Or both.
I feel like I feel like we should head on over and investigate. I mean,
So you're
I-
spring.
we-
I'm
we're
gonna
role-playing
pick
this, right?
what we both think, and you're gonna pick what it is that gets us further in the game, right? Is that what we're doing?
I guess maybe.
Nuclear death is preferred to working over Christmas.
Okay.
As someone who can say from experience, all
That
the
would make
people
this-
that I meet over Christmas deserve nuclear death.
Okay.
Okay, where is
Right. So we go in
my
for...
side of the brain is saying no. My side of the brain is saying no. I mean, I don't want everyone to have a bad Christmas. I want to get this investigation underway.
I want everyone to be miserable.
The
Or
clock is
dead.
ticking, guys. He has still staring at you while you haven't given your reason yet.
We want everyone to die, but we have to do our duty because we're cucks.
Okay. Would you
Yeah,
like me to
that's a better
read
way of
what
putting
would
it.
have happened if you went with Ian's way, or would you just like me to go straight? No, do you know what? We'll just go straight into the story. Okay. So, it's too bad about missing Christmas, but dealing with doomsday scenarios like this is literally in your job description, along with keeping the photocopiers stocked and dealing with catering contractors. More importantly, leaning in, proving you can handle a level 5 crisis solo could be your route to that promotion you've been hankering for. I don't know where you're going after Colonel, guys, but you're doing it. I'm on it, boss, you say.
General, isn't it?
You relax and enjoy your break. You'll be fine. Just remember the law of unintended consequences. You never know what reactions your actions could cause. Okay, well done, guys. You survived so far. Right, where are we at? 1-5.
Would we have died if we took
Just.
the other option?
Yeah, the world ends basically. So I went the route you went and just went, yeah, screw him. And it was quite a lengthy page as to, and then a black screen on the other side as to why you just basically destroyed the world. Okay, 16 hours in steerage later, you disembark in Pyongyang, where you are swiftly escorted.
Did you meant to say stowage?
No, it says steerage.
Steerage? What's that?
Don't know. 16 hours in steerage later. Let's go for steerage. I suppose it's the same thing. It's just probably spelled differently. It means the part of a ship providing the cheapest accommodation for passengers. Fair enough.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it works.
So you are swiftly escorted to a meeting room full of worried-looking North Korean military officials. A cup of tea and one of the yellow biscuits you notice laid out on the corner would have been nice, but they seem eager to get down to business. You must be the UN fix-it person. You're late. We called you yesterday, says the most worried-looking of the officials. Sorry. You force a smile. Customer service rule number 1: don't answer back. How can I help? You say politely. I'm told you mislaid a rocket. Even worse, says the official. We found it again. He gestures to an antiquated computer on the screen. A green dot moves in an orbit path around what must be planet Earth. The dotted line in front of it shows projected descent. How did it get up there, you ask? That does not matter now. The point is our rocket will fall back down on New York City in 12 hours' time. Millions will die! The official's voice trembles with feeling for his fellow humans. We never meant this. You must help us stop it. A round figure who's been sitting with his back to you at the end of the long table spins around in the chair. There is a amused glint in Pink Camelia's eyes. Right, sorry, bear with me. This bit's really like story realism. There's not actually a lot of... Oh, here we go. Oh, the photos are great. Kim Jong-un's voice is deep and commanding. May my father's spirit and the cheering of your people bring our glorious rocket smashing down on the American lair. Let us sever the windpipe of the great rapscallion and prove our glorious prestige for 1,000 years. And if the Western devils send rockets back at us, I personally will knock them out the sky with my peerless golfing skill. The generals cower in silence. Then Kim Jong-un begins to roar with laughter. I'm joking, you guys. That's the old me. I want to clear up this mess as much as you do. Tears of laughter roll down his round cheeks. One by one, the military officials start laughing too, and a desperate mirth fills the room. Okay, guys, do you want to join in the laughter? Keep a reproachful silence. This is no time for messing around.
Oh, man.
Tough, isn't it?
I mean,
I'm going for silence, but I don't feel like that's...
You don't want to join in with the madman. See, this is the problem, isn't it? Do you humour him and be that guy that's like, ha 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 ha, you're so funny? Or...
I don't feel like I want to humour him,
I wouldn't want to.
if I'm honest. Yeah, I think we're in
Okay.
agreement here.
Okay, so you keep a reproachful silence. This is no time for messing around. 75. The laughter eventually dies down. Kim Jong-un looks at you, suddenly menacing. I said I was joking. Don't you get it? So, do you laugh along with Kim Jong-un? He's right. At times like this, you just have to chuckle. Or you keep your silence. The fool has brought the world to the brink of Armageddon and needs to get serious.
I'm still saying silent.
I would still say silent.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
5. Might be a short one. 145. 145. Oh wow, no, okay. What's wrong with you? Kim Jong-un asks. Don't you have a funny bone? Failing to make you smile, he pulls some funny faces and barks like a seal. The generals all take their cue to fool around with practiced laughter. When is the rocket due to re-enter the atmosphere? You interject, trying to bring them back on track. Kim Jong-un stares at you intimidatingly. You don't think I'm a funny guy? I love the way he's just really upset about this. Uh-oh, it looks like you're in a reverse...
Is he Joe Pesci?
Wait, hold on. So, uh-oh, it looks like you're in a reverse Goodfellas situation, but you're determined to hold your nerve. Take him to the cells, Kim Jong-un orders. A fat guard grabs you around the middle and starts hauling you out of the room. You think one of your ribs may be about to crack when Kim Jong-un explodes into giggles. I'm kidding! Deng, put the foreigner down. What must you think of me? Deng sheepishly lets you go as the generals once again provide the laugh track. You've had it. You pick up a jug of water and slosh it over the dear leader's iconic visage. The room instantly hushes as if you've doused them all, and Kim Jong-un's mouth opens and shuts in shock before he bursts into his strongest gale of hysterics yet. Very good, he guffaws. Okay.
What?
I don't know. Guffaws? Guffaw? It's G-U-F-F-A.
Guffaws.
Is it guffaws? Very good. You're a joker like me. Okay, let's go back to this page and see what you have done.
So hang on, did we not die there?
No, I think he seems to like you.
Oh.
I don't understand.
Here we go. Kim Jong-un smiles approvingly. I like you, international fix-it person. You have a great sense of humour. Now, how will you stop our fantastic rocket fulfilling its glorious destiny? The generals look at you expectantly. Offer to heroically shoot down the rocket all by yourself, or you might need a little help with this one, so you need to make some phone calls.
I like the idea of trying this alone.
Yeah, hero mode.
Hero mode it is. Engaged. Right, 102... Oh god, wow. Kim Jong-un slowly begins to applaud your valiant offer to shoot down the rocket, and then the whole room breaks into applause. Some of the generals drop to their knees and weep with gratitude. You stop that rocket and I'll give you a whole wing of my royal palace to live in, he beams. You are our hero. A little while later, you're easing off the runway in the cockpit of the Hermit Kingdom's only MiG-29. A gift to them from the Russians. Luckily, your boss sent you on that one-day training seminar, Aerial Warfighting for Business Professionals. You were sent over crowds of jubilant, oh my god, Pyongyanites, Jesus man, who've been equipped with flip card pixels that make up your face and the word hero. Pretty sweet. The mic crackles. Hero, head for the primary location over New York City. Rocket due for re-entry in 3.5 hours. Oh, and keep your altitude, Hero. The Yankees mustn't know you're there. Okay, so are you going to set the coordinates for the primary location, or are you going to give the citizens a display of aerial acrobatics first?
I mean, do things with a flourish, right?
Oh, damn
Absolutely.
straight. Damn straight.
Yeah.
So, aerial
Why
acrobatics.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my god, here we go, guys. Since they got dressed up for the occasion, you decide to give the people of a display of your aeronautical prowess, swooping into a series of barrel rolls and a daredevil loop-the-loops over multicoloured concrete blocks. You've just pulled out of the stunt known as the Pugachev's Cobra when a voice comes over the radio. It's time to get moving, hero. We're up against the clock here. You were enjoying yourself, but you better hurry up and set the autopilot to the primary location. 3 hours later, you are 20,000 meters above the eastern US seaboard, approaching the re-entry coordinates. You just hope all that showboating hasn't made you late. You flip the safety on the control stick and steady yourself. Keep your eyes peeled, hero, the radio fizzes. A mile or so to the right, a bright light streaks down through the clouds. Hitting this thing is going to be like shooting a bullet with a bullet, the voice over the mic continues. But we believe in you. Way below, through the clouds, a cauliflower-shaped fireball begins slowly to silently to unfurl. Fix it, person. Do you have your eyes on that glorious rocket? Oh, this is awkward. In your last thought, as the shockwave from the atomic blast rocks the plane and you're pulled into an uncontrollable spin. Oh dear, you're dead. Probably shouldn't have tried to be a hero after all. If only you could turn back to page 61 and choose again. There'll be no one left to give you a gravestone now, but if they did, it would say, not a hero after all. Thanks for nothing. Signed, the rest of the human race. Well done, guys. Absolutely well done. That was that wasn't bad.
What happens if we don't do tricks?
61. So you would probably get to... Where are we? 61. No, I think you always will do that. 102. Because it says to go back to 162. 10 to 91. I think you always just never get a chance to kind of get there in time because you're kind of... Oh no, you do. So you would have arrived in the skies over New York City right on time. Come in, hero. Do you have the eyes on the missile? Hisses the radio. Ahead, a black shape streaks down out of the dark blue above. This is going to be a 1,000,000 to 1 shot, hero. Every citizen of North Korea is in the cockpit with you. The difficulty level, what you're trying to do, suddenly seems unthinkable. But you flip the safety on your control stick, close your eyes and fire. Then you open your eyes again. To your astonishment, a puff of smoke hangs in the air where the missiles have obliterated one another. You did it, hero, screams the elated voice on the radio. Colossusly unlikely as it seems, you've just pulled off the most amazing trick shot in aviation history and saved the world from a thermonuclear war. Just for the record, this has used up absolutely all of your reserves of luck, so don't expect anything like it to happen again. Your mobile phone rings. It's your boss, but his voice keeps drifting out. Hang on, you're breaking up. I'm travelling at Mach 2.3. I'll call you back, you tell him. You better find somewhere else to land. It does carry on after that, so I guess you guys would have just been like going to keep stopping more and more.
I guess that's where we'll pick up next time then.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll go for that. Or you can either do that one or you can go to 61 where you can choose to call in some people. I don't know what that's going to do, but
No, I like the
Lone Wolf in
we
it.
shot down a missile. Yeah.
Okay, let me just write a note in there. You got to shot down a missile.
Well, we didn't, but we'll go with that.
Well, we retconned it because it's the remember, you guys are working in the UN's Department of Continuity.
Sure.
And you are a colonel, so I imagine at some point you'd have a button that's a do-over.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a fitting end to what we've been playing. Man, that's... Yeah. Nuclear fallout. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
not?
averted it. I mean, the initial one wasn't, so good.
Didn't go great.
Didn't go great. I'm not going to lie, guys. That was a fitting end, to be fair. I imagined you got in the
we're
plane.
hardly qualified.
Well,
are we? So
you got in the plane.
I mean, we got over the first hurdle, right? Which was...
we got to North Korea.
Yeah, you got to North Korea.
Basically.
I feel like in a minute after so much, I think what happens is you must meet all three of the characters. So you must be doing stuff for North Korea, Russia, and America. But yeah, I do like this because it was a stupid little book I got for Christmas a couple of years back. And I've never, I always just every time I read it, I just go, nah, screw that, boss.
Always got to do it.
Always got to do it first time, every time. Tell them to go stuff it.
Anyway, shall we move on to some news?
Yes, lovely news.
Okay, so we got a few Kickstarters here. We'll break it up with a little Star Wars Armada thing, as it still says in my notes.
Boom.
The first thing I'll talk about though is on Kickstarter at the moment they're kind of rebooting a classic game, Alhambra. They did a big box version of this before with all the expansions, but they're now redoing the big box again. So they're upgrading a lot of the components. They're making it look a lot nicer. You can actually see at the top of the Kickstarter the difference between the first and the second edition. It's a really neat game about kind of building your own little Alhambra, funnily enough. So you kind of start with a central building and then you kind of build out the grounds around it in kind of like a tile lane kind of game. It's really cool. I remember watching a video on this on Will Wheaton's Tabletop. That was really cool. They've got kind of like a tile dispenser, which looks really neat. It's kind of like a big tower kind of thing that you can store all your tiles into as you play. This is the first thing. And what sort of amounts are they going for? So it looks like it's going to set you back about $80 for this version. I think that gets you everything.
Yeah.
No, it gets you it doesn't
First
get
edition,
you the
isn't it?
expansion, the Alhambra Designer expansion. Is that the first edition?
Well, it's saying that apparently you get the second edition, but it says all big box collects everything released for all of our games, first edition and second edition. So
the $80 one does say Alhambra Big Box Second Edition.
Yeah.
Big Box. So it is the second edition you're getting, not the first edition. But yeah, it looks like they've got a couple of different bundles with extra bits and pieces on. Lion fountains. I can't remember seeing that in here. I want to see what a lion fountain is.
Do you know what? I'm super confused because it's saying on the... Right, Alhambra 2nd edition big box, yeah?
Yeah.
Then underneath it goes, what's a big box? A big box collects everything released for one of our games, all in one box.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they've changed it basically, so you get like the same
then,
things, but just upgraded some of it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like an upgrade on it, but then saying it's a big box with all the expansions in, and then saying, oh, but we've got a couple more expansions as well, seems a bit...
cheeky.
Yeah, that is a bit cheeky. But if you've never played Alhambra before, I swear the big box was the first edition big box was a whole lot cheaper than that. But it is very much one of these games that they actually say is quite a good collection starter. It's quite an easy to play game. The rules are quite simple for it, and it's generally just one of those beloved kind of games. Never played it though, but this is not going to tempt me, I don't think, because it is a bit rich for my blood. But it seems like all board games are getting that way these days. Don't know whether... So the lion fountain isn't actually a lion. That's a bit disappointing. I've just seen the piece, and it's kind of just
like
a
little
wooden
dome,
tile
isn't it?
with a little plastic dome on top of it. Yeah,
Pretty weird.
That's a little disappointing. Oh well. But yeah, I it's kind of like it's one of those games which I was gonna buy.
Yeah.
Like a little while back, but decided against it, and now seeing it at this price. I mean, admittedly, you're getting how many expansions in the big box? It's about 6, isn't it, that you're getting with it? So, yeah, there were 5 in the original in expansions. 7, 8. It looks like there's 8 in this big box. So, yeah. It looks like some of them might just be space to be able to put the new expansions in, but oh well. Next up, let's break up these Kickstarters by talking a little bit about Star Wars Armada thing, which you guys know a bit more about.
Yeah.
Star Wars Armada is a turn-based strategy game based in the Star Wars universe.
We're already over an hour, Ian.
New spaceships for Star Wars Armada. It's Clone Wars stuff. It looks really cool. There's 2 separate boxes and there's a starter set. Check it out. Look it up. Websites. Let's go.
You can talk about the releases a bit more if you'd like.
No. There's like a Republic Fighter Squadrons and Republic Fleet starter set.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's the same for the Separatists. And then there's this like actual starter set which has got both, right?
I don't know. I've only seen the 2 separate ones.
Yeah,
which is
same,
kind of...
but I assumed there. I'm pretty sure I saw a starter set somewhere.
Well, I don't know. This is the thing.
Maybe I'm dumb.
I don't know, because we were talking about this a little bit before it came on quickly. We were talking about how both sets seem price-wise super expensive, considering the original one had both. Had a version of 2 players essentially had in it. It's a bit weird now that you can only get one half for almost the same price, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking now. I actually can't see.
No, there isn't one. There's an upgrade collection. There's a separatist. There's to bring out the Force things, but yeah, essentially you just get the 2 starter sets, Galactic Fleet or Separatist Alliance. Just out of curiosity, what would you go if you were going to get one?
I'm definitely going clone. I'll get Republic.
I think this is the issue. The Separatist stuff's not that great looking.
I don't know. Like nothing in the starter set catches my eye, but like the main battle cruiser that the Separatists have is very cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know the one you're on about. I wonder they'll probably...
The one they attack in the Battle of Coruscant.
I'm assuming they'll release that at some point. Yeah, do you know what? I don't know. It's one of those things. I've got the original one and I still haven't played it yet, and we're still sort of going on about how we were going.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? Is that we've been farting around, arguing about whether we're ever actually going to play it or not, and are we?
It's been hard this year. This year has been.
We were like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it for like a good 3 years.
It's just even more difficult now, you know. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would like to play it at some point. It's just I feel like it's because it's going to be a bit more advanced than X-Wing. I feel like that's the issue. We kind of
It's supposed to be like,
I don't know
you have
whether
to
it's
think
more
ahead, don't
advanced.
you?
I've kind of seen a few videos on it and stuff like that, and really what it is it's the idea that X-Wing doesn't really work very well when you've got lots and lots of ships on the board. It's designed as a dogfighting game.
You don't need to tell us that. Oh
Preach it, sister.
Yeah, and this very much takes what you do in X-Wing, because they're very similar, like mechanics-wise, from the videos that I've seen of it. It's just where everything's a bit smaller. It's a whole lot easier to move. I think you can have like multiple X-Wings, but they're kind of like grouped.
Yeah, they are like
groups, so they kind of like move together and things like that. Yeah, so it's kind of like it's the war game to the X-Wing dueling game, I suppose.
Yeah, okay,
is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll play it at one point.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, so if what you really want is lots and lots of ships on a board, Armada is the way to go over X-Wing, I think.
The problem is as well,
It's
the ships look
generally
so cool because they've got so many Star Destroyers.
Hell yeah.
I think this was the other thing as well. They can put much larger scale ships into it at an affordable price, I suppose. They're still not an affordable price, I should probably point out, but far more affordable than if they were to make a massive to scale kind of ship for X-Wing of like a Star Destroyer or something like that. It just wouldn't really work very well.
I'd love to see one, but yeah. I mean,
you wouldn't want to play with one, would you?
There's a website that makes Nebulon B frigates in X-Wing scale, and I looked at it for a bit and then just decided that it was stupid and it was never going to happen, was it? I mean, it is crazy.
It's quite mental.
Yeah. Okay. I have another Kickstarter here. That honestly, it was the artwork that really drew me into it. Momiji.
It does look quite interesting.
Essentially, yeah, it's a card game where you're trying to collect a number of cards represented by leaves, and you're basically taking them to a garden to construct the most beautiful garden, basically. I don't really know thematically what leaves have to do with that, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But it looks really nice. It's kind of like one of these games where at the beginning of a turn, a load of cards are drawn from the deck and laid out on the table and ordered into the coloured rows that the leaves are in. And then a player gets to choose all of only one stack of leaves. So you may need a certain type of leaf, but there aren't very many of them on the board at the moment, so it's kind of like a push your luck kind of thing of do you wait for more of those cards to be drawn at the risk of someone else taking them and getting loads of them, say in one lot, or do you just want to take one leaf that you particularly need? It looks kind of cool. There's a couple of little wooden animal miniatures as well in the Ancient Garden expansion that I swear to God, they must just be there for show, because these days every game needs miniatures. There was literally a Shut and Sit Down review they did recently of a game called Everfields, just on this subject, which is a deck building game that they put miniatures into for no reason. It's literally, you just get some miniatures in it. Huh?
How do they fit in your deck?
God knows. I don't know. I didn't watch the review long enough to learn that. I just saw miniatures and thought, this is an outrage. And just
This
quit.
is an outrage!
Just to clarify, I'm a big advocate for miniatures.
Honestly, if it's dry... admittedly, I'm pretty sure that was just for a deluxe version, so you can get a version without the miniatures in.
Are they just for show then? So they're not actually pivotal to the game?
No, not at all. And the Shut Up and Sit Down made a point in the game of saying this is kind of on the consumers now, and there has to be a point where, as consumers, we say, no, we don't want pointless crap that is just driving up the price of things.
Or, yes, we do want pointless crap. Keep breaking our wallets. One of the two. Just make a decision.
Yeah, I don't know.
Personally, I want loads of pointless crap.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I mean, I in the defence of the game, of that Everfields game, you don't have to buy the miniatures.
Yeah, this is it.
So-
Though. If it's optional, then people like me who love like painting miniatures and having a little miniatures collection will buy them, and people who don't care shouldn't buy them.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting off topic a little bit here of Momiji. It's a really fantastic looking game. I'm going to put the description in the links below to this and the Alhambra Kickstarter, just in case you guys wanted to check them out. I mean, this one has smashed its goal, which was like £9,000, and it's already at 30,000, so it's obviously going down quite well. I've got one more to talk about. Twinkle, which really caught my attention. It's not the best looking. Like, out of the 3 games, this is the one which probably has the least appeal visually, but it just looks like a really cool game. It's basically a dice drafting game. The idea is that there's some dice that are rolled, and you get to pick dice to be able to almost put into constellations. So there's a centerpiece, and everyone has 2 starting off points, and you have these kind of white sticks that are used to join that point, and then each dice, therefore, that you take and joins them into a constellation. And doing them in certain ways and linking them off in certain ways scores bonus points and stuff. But the caveat is that for every dice that you take, the next dice that links onto that has to be of lower value. So you want to start with a high numbered dice and then work your way with lower numbered dice throughout the rest of your chain. The interesting part is that you get lots of different sided dice on there, and you get bonus points if, say, you take a D10 of, say, a lower value of a D6. So, in other words, if you put a D6 down as your first dice, and it happened to be a 6 or something like that, you might want to actually take one of the higher sided dice, but at a lower value, because that will pick you up bonus points as you go through. So in other words, if you start with a D20, for example, that's got the number 20 on, the downside to that is that you're not going to be picking up the bonus points along the way. So again, it works on another kind of push your luck kind of basis. I mean, there's nothing to stop you. You can actually see on the pictures of here, you can branch off your dice in different ways as well. So you don't always have to have one straight line going from there. So if you make a mistake, it is kind of redeemable by forking it off at another point. I thought this looked like a really neat little idea.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It's not like the best looking.
Yeah.
Especially, it's a bit weird with all the cluster of the dices, but yeah, I think it'd be quite fun.
I think we've found that we generally tend to quite like these kind of push your luck
Yeah, 100%.
kind of games, and this very much falls into that category. I find of you're going to have some difficult decisions to make over the course of the game, because you're always going to have that temptation of taking a dice that's like starting with a 6-sided dice on an amount, which could really screw you over further down the line. But if it pays off, then could really end up scoring you some big points over the course of the game. I like a lot of those games like that, and I think particularly for our game group, I could see this one being quite popular. But yeah, they have actually gone over their funding goal. Not quite as much as the other ones. I think this is one of those things where pretty board games will always get a lot of funding, and sometimes you can find that there are these ones which have a really interesting idea, but if the presentation of it isn't great, then not so many people are so quick to jump on it. But I really like the look of this. Again, I'll put the links into the description down below. Okay. Yes. That is all our news.
That was very vocal.
We have no audience question. Yeah, it was a bit. We have no audience question this week. Again, just to remind people, if you do decide you want to send us an audience question for us to answer on this show, please send it to everybodydiceshow@gmail.com. We are closing down the old email accounts because we can't afford to keep running them. So, by all means, please send any inquiries or anything like that to that email address now. And yeah, if we choose your question, we'll answer it on the next podcast. Right. I think it's time to cover a big topic.
It is time.
Okay, so now we're on to the big topic,
Oh my.
where today we are basically going through one of the topics that was chosen by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/everybodydice, where for as little as $1 a month, you can become a patron too, and you can choose between one of 3 topics that we will basically talk about on each podcast. You will also get access to things like our monthly review poll and our audio newsletter too. So what were the 3 options they had this month? Well, the first one was which board games would fit a legacy system well. Then we had what makes a good cooperative game. But the one that's been chosen this time around is which pre-2000s game do you feel have held up best? I feel like there's one that we're all going to go to here. I've discussed this with Darryl just before the podcast.
I know. I want to
well.
see if I want
Is
to see
it
if
Monopoly?
Ian... Oof.
Monopoly.
Sorry, I didn't hear what Ian said.
Monopoly.
It was not Monopoly.
Financially, I would argue that it has held up the best.
But from a critical standpoint,
Oh,
it's held up the worst.
complete garbage. But it's, yeah.
Wow.
So, I was thinking of a game that originated in the 1800s in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I was pretty certain we were all going to.
Yeah, this is what made me laugh because until you told me, I was like, "Oh yeah." Come on, you're like an absolute beast here.
I'm pretty sure it's Crocodile.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That is for me in terms of.
In our personal opinion, it has held up. But how popular is it outside of Canada?
It's very popular.
Because I know there's definitely videos of the championships and stuff on YouTube. But I thought that was just Canadians being Canadians.
No, it's so for a while in the UK, around the time when I got my Crocodile board, you had to be put on a waiting list because they were sold out. Literally,
okay.
you couldn't get hold of them at the time. I think I was on a 2-month waiting list or something like that to actually get mine.
That is mad.
Yeah.
Should I join the Crocodile World Championships? I just get absolutely rinsed.
Why not? Why not enter? See what you can do. I mean, I'm assuming you'd get a trip to Canada out of it.
I do want to go to Canada. That would be beneficial to me.
Yeah, it's a cool country. I love Canada.
It's like America, but with no dickheads, and like the UK, but with no dickheads.
There we go.
Less dickheads.
Well, okay. let me just put out a little bit here. You do need to go further away from the American border because it seemed to kind of spread over a little bit.
What, the dickhead?
Yeah, it's really weird. I thought the same thing initially, and then I found some that were still very. I don't even. It was USA, but
Canada,
yeah, basically, and it was really odd. And then I asked them where they're from, and it turns out they're on that border area. So I think there's an overspill.
Are you talking about Toronto?
Yeah, that kind of. You want to kind of go further afield, to the more kind of.
Can I just not go to Newfoundland?
So I've heard that Newfoundland's got even weirder policies.
Newfoundland apparently is kind of weird because it's they have the Union flag everywhere.
And apparently they have a very different accent. According to the Canadians, they have a different accent.
Yeah.
They speak slightly different to normal Canucks or whatever they call them. But all I would say is head a bit further.
I would actually argue that you don't have to go that much further. I mean, I really enjoyed Toronto anyway. I enjoyed the city of it. But we actually stayed on the outskirts of
Nice.
Toronto. It was about a 20-minute drive away from it. And even when you get to like the real touristy destinations, like Niagara on the Lake and stuff like that, they're still really nice areas. Like the people there are really cool and stuff.
Oh,
I didn't find I had any problem with people like in those kind of areas. It was kind of, you just had the odd person that was like, as you were describing, in those very, what's the word? Like your central Toronto, areas like that.
How about chess? That's held up.
Has it though? You see, where it's still very, very popular. It's still
You just
really
go
Dragons
for
off
super
of
old
Canada.
yeah, that's fair enough. But I mean, there are games now that are similar to chess, but I would argue are better than
Fine.
it.
Okay.
Battleships.
Poker.
Poker is actually one that's held up quite well, I will say. Like, you still get a lot of people that enjoy playing it. And to be honest, when I started like messing around with it and stuff, I found I was quite enjoying myself.
What did you?
Like those elements of bluffing and stuff like that are great.
I've been
really
enjoying.
that.
So we've done poker nights with work people.
Yeah.
And they've always been fun until someone inevitably drinks too much, calls himself a stormtrooper, and trips out the front door. Not going to name any names, but that happened.
Well, surely you still gained a certain amount of enjoyment out of that.
Oh,
though.
and all of their money, yeah.
Sure.
So, what was the year it had to be before?
Before 2000?
I would say Pokemon.
What, the TCG?
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, its
you can argue
meta
a lot
is
of those
a
TCGs.
terrifying mess.
I would say it's still kind of been going.
Warhammer 40k then. Like if we're doing that, Warhammer 40k
Yeah.
is completely different in terms of its story now, but it's
Carried on. It's made it through.
Yeah.
Any of those kind of like you say, Steve, like Magic the Gathering, any of the card games.
Yeah.
A
lot of those that made it across. I mean,
When's Ticket to Ride? That must have been early 2000s.
that was that. I want to say that was like around 2004, maybe something like that. But I think a lot of I think all of the gateway games that we look at now, I think all of them were after 2000. Like I think they say the 90s was a real dark time for board gaming. That's where it kind of fell off a cliff, pretty much. The thing is like I'm sure there's things you could pick up because the company Avalon Hill, I think, were consistently making stuff through the 90s.
Sorry, my brain's had a big blip fart. Blood Bowl is having a huge resurgence at the moment. I know it went quiet for a few years.
Can I just say I got the year of Ticket to Ride right?
Did you?
2004.
Wow.
Damn.
Nerd.
Oh wow, Carcassonne is just outside 2000.
Oh, really?
Carcassonne was published.
Is Catan as well?
Catan again, I imagine, is close, but Catan is 95.
There you go.
Yeah, people are starting to sour on Catan, and personally, I think it's the least enjoyable out of all the gateway games. I have to admit.
Steve, I've got one.
Yeah.
Hero Quest.
Has that held up well?
I mean, financially, if you were to sell your copy online.
Okay, so let's compare Hero Quest to another board game that even now is quite outdated, Descent: Journeys in the Dark. I would argue that Descent: Journeys in the Dark is a far better game than Hero Quest.
When did Twilight Imperium come out? 97.
I was thinking
97.
But, how many people do you see playing Twilight Imperium?
No, I was just curious more because we were going about big games.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a game that's evolved because I think, if I remember right, I think the original Twilight Imperium is considered to be not very good.
So you've got 1997, you've got 2000, 2004, and 2017. Those are the four version.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I don't know.
I think second edition was when people really started to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah.
And that was on 2000. So, yeah. I mean, technically, the franchise has been around since before
True.
that, but...
So I've gone to Board Game Geek to look through their like top whatever 100 pre-2000 games, just out of curiosity to see how many we're getting. And there's a lot here I don't recognise. But at number 67, there's a board game called Eat Poop You Cat. I've never heard of it, but I'm fascinated now.
At what number?
67. It's called Eat Poop You Cat. Each player starts with a piece of paper and a pencil. At the top of the paper, each player writes a sentence, then they pass the paper to their left. The next player draws the sentence, a la Pictionary, and then folds the paper so only the drawing is visible, and then passes it to the left. The next player looks at the drawing and writes a sentence they think it represents. This continues until all players have the original paper back at the end, and all players unfold their paper, and much hilarity ensues.
I'm not sure you're looking at the right thing, because the number 67th ranked game on Board Game Geek is Crocodile.
I'm looking at 67 pre-2000 games.
Ah, pre-2000. Okay.
So,
fair enough.
They've got an example here, and someone's I Am the Walrus Cuckoo Choo became Hitler, and I Danced the Night away in a disco.
What the hell?
I would like to play this.
Oh, man.
I would like to play this. See if we can get like a chat room up during a podcast, and we send private message to one another. One of us draws it and then sends the picture to the other.
That would be quite good, actually.
We could do this. We could have like a Christmas party and do this.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested to see this pre-2000 list now.
I'm looking at it. I don't
do you know what?
Lot.
Number one is Crocodile.
Yes, I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is number one on there. El Grande, I've heard of. Tigris and Euphrates is actually, even now, I would say that's held up, because Tigris and Euphrates keeps getting new editions at the moment. And it's generally, it's kind of like a hit and miss kind of game. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. Sorry. I have just seen what you sent us, Ian. That's amazing.
Oh my god, these are great. I love that one. I'm sure you'll be able to show it.
Maybe. I'll
There's an eyeball on my toe and I hate that chair. I can lift 2 chairs and play soccer.
Wait, what's this game called?
Eat Poop You Cat.
So this game looks suspiciously like a game I saw the other day. That's been it's like a potato game or whatever, big potato game, where you make like little stories up and stuff. It looks like identical. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, sorry, at number 7 is genuinely a board game that I was going to bring up as well, that I've recently discovered that I'm enjoying quite a lot, which is Go.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. But, yeah, a lot of these, like even modern art is still getting new editions all the time. So there are a fair few, if you know where to look. Acquire is on there, which is the board game that was released at the same time, roughly, as Monopoly, and is a better game than Monopoly, but got kind of buried, because it was released around the same time as Monopoly. But yeah, it's interesting. So, that about brings us to the end of this podcast. So, if you would like to follow us on any of the social medias, you can do on Twitter at EverybodyDice and on Instagram at EverybodyDiceShow. If you really enjoy what we do, maybe want to throw a couple of bucks our way, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/EverybodyDice, where you'll get things like our audio newsletter, access to the various polls we do as well. It's worth checking out our Facebook page. We've been doing a few bits on there, so facebook.com/everybodydice. And yeah, I suppose that's it really. If you have a question that you'd like to send us, please do remember it's now at everybodydiceshow@gmail.com. There should be something on screen, maybe around here at this point. Please do give those a click as well and check out more of our stuff. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for joining us this time. See you around.
Bye.